Today is Thursday, the 6th of July, 2017. The time is 2:02 p.m. We are on the record. My name is Margot Moyer, CLVS, of Moyer Litigation Video, located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The court reporter is Jerry Potts for Williams & Associates Court Reporting. We are here for the deposition of Robert Perry in the case of Charles Arasum versus Gregory Wheeler and Robert Perry, filed in the state of New Mexico, County of Bernalillo, 2nd Judicial District Court. Case number D-202-CV-2015-07702. This deposition is being held at the offices of the City Attorney, 1 Civic Plaza, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Counsel will please state their appearances for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Grover, and I'm counsel for Plaintiff Charles Arasum.
Kristen Dalton on behalf of Robert Perry.
Thank you. The court
David
reporter-
Roman on behalf of Greg Wheeler.
And the court reporter will please swear in the witness.
Mr. Perry, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Perry. Would you go ahead and state your name for the record?
Sure, it's Robert Perry.
And what's your date of birth, sir?
It's 32560
And your residential address?
in Albuquerque.
And what street address is that?
I prefer not to give you personal information like that.
Okay. You understand you're in deposition?
I understand I'm in deposition.
Okay. And is there a reason why you're not answering a simple question as far as your residential address?
Yeah, because of personal security.
Personal security?
Yeah.
What are you concerned about?
Personal security.
Why?
Harassment and other threats on my family.
Is there any basis for that concern? Or
Yeah, I have a
Fear of
high-profile
security.
position, and I like to keep my residence as private as I can.
Okay. And you understand that in deposition you're compelled to answer questions unless directed by your counsel?
Well, I understand that I have an obligation to answer questions, but I can also assert certain objections I have to them.
So your objection in not answering your personal residential address is what?
Is that I have personal security issues.
Well, what's your objection?
That I have personal security issues.
What's the foundation for that objection?
Object to the form.
I just explained to you.
Personal security?
Yes.
On the basis of what?
It's very simple. I have personal security issues that I don't want my home address being out there for common use. If you want to get a protective order and we can call the judge, we can do that. I'm not trying to be difficult, Mr. Grover, but I do have concerns about that.
You do recognize that your address is public record? Is
Yeah,
that correct?
I understand that too.
Okay. And then you had stated earlier on reference to the Mary Hahn scene, you were present at that scene, is that correct?
Object
That's
to
correct.
the form.
All right. Professional objective did you have there?
There was some legal issues basically regarding a computer and records, as I remember.
So you were there in the capacity as the city attorney?
Yes, sir.
And who were you providing counsel to at that time?
At that time, I believe I was having discussions with the chief.
And was the chief
I
of
think it was
police at that
I think it was
scene?
Alan Banks.
It's your testimony that Alan Banks was the chief of police there?
Yeah, as best I recollect it.
Okay. And had you ever been to any other police scenes where you provided counsel to officers at the scene?
No,
All right. Do you recall, did you drive there or were you driven there?
I think I drove there.
Now, you said earlier that you had, in terms of contact by law enforcement, you had referenced this particular incident as providing a statement. Is that right? Do you recall writing a narrative report or any
On
documentation?
the Mary Hahn case? Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Do you recall when she was discovered deceased?
No,
Remember what time of year?
not really.
Do you remember when you wrote your report regarding your presence at that scene?
Not really.
Was it in close proximity to the date when she was discovered deceased?
I think it was sometime later. Maybe, I don't know. I don't even want to speculate.
Days?
I can't even speculate on that.
Weeks?
I don't remember exactly when it was written.
If I told you that it was in excess of 3 months after that date, does that sound correct?
Could be.
Do you have any idea why you'd write a report 3 months after an alleged incident?
Well, imagine somebody might have said, put 142 supplement written on your involvement in it.
So you wrote it because someone asked you to?
Object to the form.
I don't have the exact recollection as far as why I wrote it.
Do you recall writing any other supplemental reports for any other police encounters,
No.
police incidences?
No,
And you're not a sworn law enforcement officer, right?
no, sir.
Do you know why you would have written a supplemental report rather than a witness statement?
Objective form and foundation.
Not really.
You would agree with me that supplemental reports are typically written by police officers, right?
Typically, yeah.
All right.
But I was also in an official capacity at that point as a city attorney.
And I do have to ask, what's the relevance of this line of questioning to this
Has to do with
lawsuit?
Mr. Perry inserting himself in various incidences.
Are they
And that there's a
involving your
pattern
client,
of
or-
behavior.
Mr. Perry was a prosecutor for about 7 years. Mr. Perry was the deputy director of the state police for a couple of years. I've been to a lot of crime scenes. Back in law school, I remember, professors saying, never go to a case if you haven't been to the scene and the like. In my experience, and I ran the Department of Corrections and Prisons and Probation and Parole, going out to the scenes at the appropriate times is very insightful. It gives you some pretty good insight, Mr. Grover, and it helps you have some information for some of these management purposes we discussed. So although you'd like to have some line about inserting myself in cases, I don't believe that I have. I think that in the cases I have gone out, that it's been appropriate, and I've been fairly judicious in doing that because I also recognize, issues with becoming witnesses in cases, and that fine line as a prosecutor or a CAO or a city attorney.
So you're attending the Mary Hunt crime scene was an educational enterprise?
That was specifically for a different reason.
It's your testimony that you were there to provide legal counsel to APD personnel at that scene?
I believe that's the deposition information I provided you.
Just re-verifying, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Perry.
That's fine.
And given the swath of experience you just detailed in terms of being present at crime scenes, you recognize that there are various perimeters within a crime scene. You would agree with me, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Had you ever attended any death scene investigation training before?
Crime scene processing basic as a prosecutor in Florida.
You ever taken any homicide investigation training?
No, sir.